welcome to Classroom Strategies, Number Sense Routines for the Classroom. My name is Dr. Montana Smithy, and I'm with Georgia Southern University. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my five favorite number sense routines. And so before we dive into the number sense routines, what is number sense? So number sense is the understanding of numbers, how they work together, and the relationships between numbers and operations. It involves looking at numbers and being able to represent them in lots of different ways. It involves flexibly and fluidly being able to compose and decompose numbers. Number sense is the understanding of how and when to choose the most efficient strategies. And then can we consider the reasonableness of our answer in a context of our problem? So why does number sense matter so much? Well, children often lack number sense, primarily because traditionally there's been the view that procedural fluency helps develop that conceptual understanding of numbers, but actually number sense and understanding how numbers work and flexibly being able to compose and decompose numbers and call upon a variety of strategies develops a conceptual understanding that then builds procedural fluency. We know that number sense often leads to proficiency in algebra, and algebra is also often seen as the gatekeeper to other particular kinds of math classes. We know that number sense also develops the use of flexible strategies that are much needed for problem solving later on. So what is number sense routine? So it's an established routine in the classroom that provides consistent space for math conversations focused on numbers. It gives students a better understanding of numbers, supports children in developing that conceptual understanding, allows students to develop and hear multiple strategies for solving a variety of problems. It supports that flexible thinking and reasoning and allows students to bring their own thinking to class. And number sense routines often set a positive tone for the day. And we know that number sense routines provides numerous benefits for student learning. And so a number sense routine is an equitable mathematics teaching practice because it provides students with increased access to the mathematics. They get to listen and hear multiple perspectives from their peers. They get to bring their own thinking to the classroom and develop that positive math identity to be able to contribute not just a math idea, but by contributing in the discussion, whether it's by repeating or revoicing what someone else is saying. Teachers have a chance to position children as competent and capable and knowers and doers of mathematics. And building number sense could lead to achievement as students progress their school. Number sense routines also have the benefit of engaging students in math discussion, have a space for them to practice communicating with each other about mathematics, and then engaging in that decision making. So for example, do they agree or disagree with a strategy that someone else is sharing? They also have a chance to consider different strategies that they might not have thought of and listen and hear to the perspectives of others. And then lastly, one of the largest benefits of number sense routines is it gives a chance for students to explore different patterns and relationships. So there's a few different fundamentals of number sense routines to keep in mind. They should be shorter routines, so anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the time that you have in your classroom. You should have an established safe learning community so that every student feels like they can participate and where they feel comfortable communicating with each other. Now, that's not to say if every student feels like they cannot participate or if students don't feel comfortable communicating with each other. Number sense routines can also provide a space to practice being more comfortable talking to each other about math. Another fundamental component of a number sense routine is choosing problems or images used for any of the number sense routines purposely and that have a mathematical goal in mind. Teachers should anticipate student thinking because it can help better prepare you for the conversation that is to come. And then when you are tracking student thinking, making sure to do that with a purpose so that you are able to direct students to the patterns and relationships found in the strategies to guide you toward the path of that mathematical goal chosen for the number sense routines. When teachers facilitate number sense routines, teachers should think about how they can facilitate the conversation in a way that helps students clarify their own thoughts. How can they facilitate a conversation to help students listen to and respond to others, but then also engage with each other's ideas, asking each other questions about each other's strategies, and then also anything that goes on in the conversation, how can we focus that back on the mathematical goal? And so the 5 number sense routines I'm going to share with you today are number talks, would you rather, which one doesn't belong, estimations, and quarrel counts. So a number talk routine, a teacher poses a mental math equation or a quick image. Students solve independently. Students offer solutions. Students defend a solution with strategy sharing, and the teacher tracks the thinking. So what does that look like? And so as you can see here, I've linked in the videos of these teachers engaging in number talks, but you can see that the teacher has the students in closer proximity. Solutions are taken from students after the problem is posed. And then when I talk about tracking a student thinking, it's writing down the student strategy as a student is communicating that, visible so that everyone else can follow along. Because sometimes it's hard for students to keep all of that up in their head, especially when they're trying to follow along with the student's reasoning that is different from them. Number talks can be done with equations, but they can also be done with different quick images like you see in the second example. I also included in the materials different number talk lesson plan templates and then different examples. So you can see here the problem posed was 38 add 66. There's a specific mathematical goal of wanting to use place value or the commutative property to add numbers, and then comparing the reasoning of those 2 different strategies. And then you also want to have a discussion goal that is specifically different than a mathematical goal. So for example, you might say, today I'm really going to focus on my students agreeing and disagreeing with each other and defending their reasoning. You can see that in this lesson plan, I had anticipated how I thought my students would solve the problem. And then based on their thinking, I brainstormed different questions I could ask about those anticipated strategies that would help me meet that mathematical goal. And then I also thought what talk moves that might help me focus on that discussion goal of having students agree and disagree with each other. The next number sense routine is would you rather. You display a photo of 2 different options. Students think to themselves, then students offer an opinion of their chosen option, and they defend an option with reasoning, and the teacher can track their thinking. So what might it look like? So I've included the website where you can find these different choices or the images to display that already have a question. For example, it might be would you rather have a box of chocolates with 5 rows and 14 columns or 7 rows and 9 columns? Even if you chose your own image and made your own question, each choice should be able to be justified. And so option A is not wrong and option B is not wrong. It depends on the reasoning of the child. Instead of an example lesson plan, for this one, I included a would you rather student template that can be found on that the Would You Rather website. Another number sense routine, the third one that we're going to talk about today, is called Which One Doesn't Belong. You display a photo of 4 options, and then the students have to decide for themselves, out of those 4 boxes, which one doesn't belong. Students think to themselves, students offer an opinion of choosing which of the boxes they don't belong, and then they have to defend which one doesn't belong and why, and the teacher can track their thinking. I've included the website here that has a collection of which one doesn't belongs for shapes, numbers. Some are with symbols, some are with pictures of real world. You can use your own photos as long as each box can be justified. I've included an example lesson plan here where I've chosen my image. I've chosen my mathematical goal in talking about prime and composite numbers. And then I've also have a discussion goal this time of active listening. I really want to get my students to listen to each other and be able to voice and repeat what each other is saying. And again, I've anticipated what I thought my students would say if each choice was defended. And so, and then based on what I thought they might say, then I might brainstorm questions that are linked to those different strategies that also focus on my mathematical goal. Because there's a lot of different directions you could go in these conversations, but you want to make sure that everything relates back to that mathematical goal. And then I also noted in my lesson plan, what are some of the talk moves that would help me stay on track with getting my students to actively listen to each other. The fourth number sense routine I wanted to share, I don't really know the name of it. I just call it estimation. I technically call it estimation 180 because of the website that I pulled it from. But what I do for this number sense routine is I display a photo. And then I ask students, what do you notice? What do you wonder? And I make a list of all the things they notice and all the things that they wonder. Then I pose a question, focus on making an estimate of some kind. They think to themselves, and then offer some estimates, defend their thinking, and I track their thinking. Then I ask students what they would like to know to make a better estimate. And again, I try to annotate or track their thinking in numbers, symbols, words, whatever makes the most sense. And then I give them a chance to revise their estimates and provide a new reasoning for that revision. And then I reveal the actual solution. And so here as an example, I've linked the website for the estimation 180 has 180 days of different photos, videos, and questions. But you can see I did this one last week. I displayed the photo of the Ferris wheel, and I asked students, what do you notice? What do you wonder? And then I posed my question I wanted them to answer. So about how high is the giant wheel? And then I collected estimations in feet first. Then I asked them to, would anyone like to choose one of these estimates and defend it with reasoning? We also took time to talk about what else they would need to know to make even better estimate and be even closer. We looked up some of that information. So in this particular instance, we looked up the average height of Ferris wheels. We looked up the difference between palmetto and palm trees and things like that. And then we could go into revising our answer and try to collectively narrow what we thought the correct estimate would be. So the last number sense routine I wanted to share is called a choral count. You write a starting number. So for example, maybe in this case, in this photo, I've started at 38. And then I decide what I'm going to count by. And then as a group, we collectively count, and as students are counting, I'm writing the numbers, but I'm also writing them in a purposeful way so that I'll be able to identify and note patterns that they can see. I plan pauses and then discuss the different patterns, again, tracking those different ideas. We continue to discuss and then count some more, discuss and count some more, making sure to also show the different patterns. So this is an example of what it might look like, including the what do we notice, and then how I've used colors to, or how a teacher could use colors to show the different patterns that the students are making. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the presentation today. You can join this Padlet and you can let me know what number sense routines that you love, which ones you're excited to try out yourselves, or if you have any questions or comments. I also compiled a Google Drive folder for you, so make sure to check it out. Thanks for watching.